We have been studying, it's going to be a tough act to follow, but we have been studying companies for the last 20 years at the Motley Fool. And I'm proud and maybe self-promotional to say that we have very substantially beaten the average return of the stock market over those 20 years. And when you look at the best investments that we've made over those 20 years and look at the qualities of companies like Pixar or Google or Priceline or Facebook or Berkshire Hathaway or Costco, there is a thread between all of those businesses, and it is one of our core advantages as an investor, as investors at the Motley Fool, and that is that we look very, very closely at companies' cultures. And I think that for the most part, Wall Street does not. So there's an intense focus on the quantitative and an intense focus on short-term outcomes on Wall Street. And if instead you widen the lens and look at the long term, you start to see, wow, all of the greatest companies want their people to succeed. They want to retain the people that are coming to work. Costco is paying significantly more than they competitively have to their employees. And on almost every conference call that Jim Sinegal, the founder of Costco, was on with Wall Street analysts, he was asked a question about the costs of their employee base relative to what they would have to pay to be competitive. And he said, there's so much knowledge, there's so much passion for what we're doing here at Costco. We want people who come to work at our business to be with us forever. So it may seem obvious to everyone here in the room, but if the CEO of your company is not passionate or as passionate about innovating the culture of the company that you're at as much as the strategy and the technical know-how and the new products that are being developed, literally innovation has to happen inside the culture as rapidly as everywhere else if you're going to believe Peter Drucker's line that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if you believe that, or maybe just culture gets a seat at the breakfast table with strategy, if they're even close, then you and we and all of us in every organization we're involved in, the company we work at, the nonprofits that we volunteer with, the schools that we interact with, we have to be trying to innovate our culture as rapidly as anything else that's happening in that organization. So in that spirit, I'm going to offer 4 actions that we take at the Motley Fool that have no evidence or data to support them. But they have worked for us. And so the first one, I'm going to ask everyone to stand up. I think I should get extra time for this. No, I'm kidding. OK, so I would like you to remain standing if you know and can recite, if I called on you, the core values of your business or organization. If I called on you, you could name them one after the other. Cold call. I could cold call you at any moment. It's awesome. I love honesty. OK, great. Awesome. Now, please remain standing if you believe that everyone in your organization could recite all of the core values of your business. OK, awesome. Awesome. Now the remainder of you can sit down. Thank you for that. It turns out that maybe our core values aren't so core after all. Maybe they're not so core. Maybe they're values, but maybe they're not core values. So here's my suggestion for making them a little bit more core in your organization, and that is invite, ask, request, or require every single person that works with you to articulate their own value that they will bring to work. And the act of owning one of the values will lead them to understand a little bit more deeply the other values and see how they integrate and interact. So name your own value is an important, 241. Ooh, okay, good. Name your own value. Number 2, we've learned a lot today about the importance of social connections. If you haven't had an opportunity to visit Starbucks corporate, I highly recommend it. You will never encounter a more social environment than there. It's a fika in Swedish terms. It's a coffee break throughout the day. It's incredible, the buzz in Starbucks' office. And Starbucks is one of the greatest cultures in American history, no question. I mean, talk about an organization that has maybe lower paying jobs, but on Glassdoor, people saying, I love to come to work here, it matters to me. It's a high quality job, no matter what the pay is. So 3 years ago at the Motley Fool, we told our then about 250 fools we have a special 20% bonus every year. We come up with a special concept. 3 years ago it was, everyone at the Motley Fool must be able to name everyone else at the Motley Fool. So you must be able to name all other 250 people you work with. If you can't name everyone at the company by the end of this year, you do not get 20% of your bonus. Furthermore, if everyone can't name everyone loses 20% of their bonus. So there was a gasp in the room, and within a month of the end of the year, everyone had named everyone except for one person, a Navy SEAL named Nick Crow, who then sent an email out to the entire company saying, I'm the last thing standing between you and 20% of your bonus. Who wants to take me out to lunch? So wanted signs started appearing of Nick around our office, and he named everyone. And at that point, 250 people knew everyone's name. If you want to be a social and collaborative organization, what's the basic ingredient? Knowing someone's name. If we all knew each other's name, conversations would be different throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. If your organization has 5,000 people, I still think requiring that everyone can name, say, around 250 people is a very, very good idea. That's idea number 3. Idea number 4, yes, my notes are on my iPhone. Idea number 4, send random emails to people that you admire and invite them to hang out with you. We do so frequently. We just invite people to have lunch with us. We just thank them. We get a 5-minute phone call perhaps with them, or Michael Lewis comes and hangs out with us 3 times in our office, or John Mackey at Whole Foods says, yeah, I'll be in DC in 4 months, why don't I drop by? And we thought he'd be there for 15 minutes, and he gave a 3-hour presentation on conscious capitalism, and now he's on our board of directors. It is so important for all of us to turn our organizations external from their daily work. It's more exciting for them, for your customer service team to get to talk to the head of Zappos' customer service on a 15-minute phone call. That's an exciting bit of variety in somebody's workday, and I love what Reid Hoffman says, which is essentially 90% of what you need to know going forward, and probably more, is knowledge that's outside your organization. So connect with it. And finally, be the first person in your organization to use Amy Wrzesniewski's great work and be the first person to craft your own job. And here's the challenge I would put to you, and here's how I talk to my direct reports. I'm going to reduce your compensation 15% this year, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just lost 15% of your compensation. Now, what do you want to do differently? You have the freedom to change your job in any way that you want to, because you've just lost 15% of your comp. What do you want to change? And in every case, there's a change. We don't reduce the salary or comp 15%, but Raj Peshawariya, who's a brilliant former chief learning officer at Coca-Cola Morgan Stanley, came and presented in our office, and he said, the single indication of somebody who's on a path to greatness and fulfilling their potential, in my experience, is that at some point they took a pay cut to do what they really, really loved to do. So pushing people to think that way and to begin crafting their own jobs, and I really think it begins with you. If you sat and thought to yourself, what would happen if my comp fell 10%, but I had the freedom to do exactly what I wanted to do in the year ahead, what would I do? And make that change in your work and use that to change and improve the opportunities for everyone you're working with to fulfill their potential. So I've gone a little bit over, but thank you for suffering fools gladly.